Barb, I can't think of a better person to bring up on stage than the guy we got coming up next.
You're absolutely right, David. This gentleman has built a huge team in Pennsylvania, and I think he's only been in the business less than a year.
I think November.
Since November. And I heard he has a great story. I think you guys are in for a treat, and I can't wait to hear his story myself.
Guys, this guy is hailing from, actually he's from Philadelphia, but he hails from the streets of Brooklyn. Okay? So if you can understand his accent, and you're going to love what he's got to say, I want y'all on your feet for Tom Camarda. Y'all give it up.
How we doing, everybody? Great. Well, I got a chance to tell you guys a story. Starts back a while, though. As they told you, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I moved into Philadelphia in 2007. And where are my Philly folks here? All right. I got to tell you, it's a town of brotherly love, and I love this. And anyway, let me tell you a story, because it's something I think you guys are going to like. Basically about a little chubby kid from Brooklyn, 9 years old. And when I say chubby, picture a 9-year-old little Italian kid, 196 pounds. 196 pounds. Was a big kid. And, don't worry about that. That progressed. Because fast forward to 39 years old, and that 196-pound little boy turned into a 476-pound big man. Wow. And went to the doctor one day, February, and I just had lost my dad 2 months earlier, 59 years old, to myelogenic leukemia. And I wasn't feeling good. And my dad was like, Tom, you got to do something because you're going to be in this bed. And I am not going to be here, he goes. He knew he was dying, and he says, I know why I'm dying. He goes, I'm dying because my job's finished. I raised 3 beautiful kids, loving wife, and I did my job, so I'm good with it. He says, you need to know that you need to be good with it. And I'm going home. So I said, all right. And we understood, and 2 days later, he passed away. And February, I went to the doctor, and I went to the doctor for a strange reason. I went to the doctor because I couldn't eat the amount of food that I was accustomed to eating. And I was wondering why, because that never happened to me before. Believe me, Burger King and McDonald's could tell you that. All right, but the thing going to the doctor tells him, look, we've been telling you all your life. And if I tell you, you're not going to believe it. He goes, but you know what? You got insurance. Go check it out. He goes, I'll sign you up for all these tests, CAT scans, all these Dopplers and everything else. He goes, and we'll see. He goes, but I want you to go check it out first so you know the facts. I said, all right, fine. So I went for the test. I get a phone call from the doctor, and he says to me, all right, I need you to come to my office. I need you to go over the results of this test. So I said, all right, we'll make an appointment. No. He goes, now. So I says, now. I said, Doc, I'm in the middle of doing a couple of things here. He goes, Tom, I'm waiting for you. Get down here now. And he hung up the phone. And I did. I went to the doctor's office, and he sat me down. He goes, look, we've been telling you this for years. He goes, and now we have proof. He goes, the reason why you can't eat anymore is because just about 40% of every organ in your body is infiltrated with fat. The fat stopped growing out and started growing in. And I said to him, well, what am I, what's going on? He says, well, basically, this was now in March, the beginning of March. He says, you're not going to make 40. He goes, you got about 8-9 months before you're gone. Now, I'm the father currently of a set of 17-year-old triplets. And at that time, they were 9. And at that time, I was married. And go back home, and I'm telling my wife what's going on. And I gave up. And I said, look, this is it. There's nothing for me to do. The only thing is gastric bypass surgery, but the doctor said, I could die. And she looks at me, and she says, hello? You're going to die anyway. Might as well try. Go out kicking. So, and she said to me, she goes, you are telling me about your dad and how much you loved your father and the whole deal, and you can't get over that he was gone, that he was taken, from us at such a young age. And she said to me, how do you think that 3 9-year-olds are going to feel about God just plucking you off the face of the earth and taking you home? How do you think they're going to feel? How do you think they're going to cope with that? And I really thought about it, and I said, wow, you're right. So I called up the doctor, and I said, all right, I'm going to start looking for a gastric bypass surgeon because that's the way I had to do it, because there was no time left. It had to be done. It had to be done quick. Interviewed 5 doctors. The doctors looked, went through everything. I picked one, and date was set for November 31st. I get back to my doctor's office. I said, date set, November 31st, ready to go. And he goes, do you have the doctor's card? He goes, I want to talk to him. So I took it out of my pocket, gave it to him. He calls him in front of me. And he says, hi, this is Dr. Italikar. I'm Tom Camarda's doctor, and blah, 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 the whole deal going back. He goes, you set the date for November 31st. And the surgeon says, right. And he says, well, you can cancel that. And I'm looking at the doctor. I'm saying, what are you doing? I'm just going crazy looking for this guy, and now you tell him to cancel. And he says to the surgeon, he goes, he won't be here November 31st. So they pushed the date back to July 31st. And you know what? Picture's worth 1,000 words, wouldn't you say? Take a look. That was me on July 26th, 2003. That was... Those ribs look really good, right? Still tempted by those ribs, I gotta tell you. That party I had, and I had 150 friends and family in my house because I knew, the doctor told me, there was a 75% chance I was going to die on the table on the 31st. So I had that party, and I called it the Last Supper. And now, funny thing about this party, because during the time I was going up to the surgery, I had a vision of what I would look like at 225. That was my goal, 225. I had a vision of what I would look like at 225 pounds. And you know what, that vision happened because I had a dream one night of who I was. And I'm looking at this dream like a third party. I'm like, who is this guy? And I realized it was me. And that vision got sharper and sharper and sharper. And at this party, people coming over to me and saying to me, because I was going to have one next year at the same time, just to show everybody, And I did. But it was funny because how people think. I'm telling people, look, I'm going to be 225 when you see me next year. And they come over and, oh, listen, Tom, don't worry about what you're going to be. You're going to do it, man. You're going to, even if you, get down to 350. Down to 350? that's... I'm going to go do this to go down to 350. So, and I'm like, no, don't worry about it. I'm going to be 225, 225, 225. And I'm going around and I'm telling everybody I'm going to be 225 because I'm owning that. You understand? I want to be indebted to myself to say that I already said to everybody I'm going to be 225. And they were just like, well, don't worry. It's funny how people's minds work. Like, you want to do something, and they're holding you back. All right? And it's not even their decision to do it. They're just holding you back. And they love me. Don't get me wrong. I love all of them. But I said, this is what I'm doing, and that's it, period. I had the surgery on the 31st of July. I laid there in that bed, and literally 5 o'clock in the morning, silently said goodbye to my kids. Because that 75% chance that I wasn't going to be here. And I said goodbye to them, and they rolled me into the operating room. And I just said, you know what, I have a conversation with God all the time. And I said to him, look, just, get me through this so I can impact other people, so I could affect other people's lives. I said, I know what I'm going to look like. I have a vision. Just give me what I need. And then I just said something. It reminded me of my dad. My dad said to me, I'm finished. And it just hit me all of a sudden. I'm laying in that bed, rolling into the operating room, and I just shout out, I'm not finished. I'm not finished because there's a lot of things I need to do. And I said to him, get me through this. You're going to get me through this. I said, I know you will. You gave me the vision. And you want to know something? I had not gotten on a scale that whole year. That whole year went by, and I had not gotten on a scale because I knew what I was going to be. I just knew it. And I was losing weight. I got to tell you, my clothes, I was going through clothes like water. It was just like falling off me. It was a metamorphosis, literally. Doctor wanted to tell me what I weighed, and I told him no. And my mom bought me a scale. Now, understand something. When you're 476 pounds, you don't just get on a scale, okay? All right? They go up to like 250, 300. You might have to put 2 scales down and go like this. So, and the thing is that day that I had that party, on the 31st of July, I had my birthday because it's a new day for me. It's my birth, And everybody's coming and they're doing their thing, and I wasn't going out there until everybody came in. And they were all out there in the backyard, and they were having a great time, and I'm ready to go out and say hi to everybody. But the minute before I do that, I needed to go up in my room and pull out that scale. And it was a digital scale that went up to 500 pounds. And for the first time, I said to myself, I knew all that year I was going to be 225 because of the vision I had, and I knew I was going to do it. Folks, that was a digital scale, and I stepped on that scale that very first time in a year. And the numbers read 224.7. See, I continue to lose weight, and I'll be honest with you, I'm trying to gain some now. All right, but the thing is, I continued to lose weight, and I went through doing what I was doing. It's a great thing, and you know what? It's funny because after doing this, I realized one thing. I realized how powerful a dream is, but how powerful a vision could be. And yet a vision cannot happen without a dream. All right, it's the dreamer that looks up at the stars and says, look at what I could be. And it's a visionary that looks up at the stars and says, look at who I am. I will tell you this. I'm standing in front of you today as a senior director. We're wearing this pin, SD, and we have MDs in this room and SDs in this room and directors in this room. But you know what? What we are, they might say it up here, but we're all edits. You know what an edit is? An ED in training. Well, that's what I am. See, I might be standing before you as an SD, but this is the heart of an ED right here. All right? And all I'm going to tell you is if you want to be what you want to be, have a picture, have a vision, get there. Don't let anybody steal your dream. Don't let anybody take it away because you are who you are and you know who you are. And no one else needs to know who you are but you. All right? And then you could change the world. Change inside of you first. Grab your vision, live your dream, and live your life. My name is Tom Camarda, folks, and I ignite.